Mathematicians, I'm here to get you ready for your test. On Friday, your test is going to be covering all your operations with integers and with rational numbers. So we've got negative and positives, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. We also have fractions, maybe negative, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and decimals, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. So we've got a lot to cover on this test, a lot to remember. I want you to remember on fractions. These are the things you need to know. On multiplying and dividing, same sign is a positive number. Write that down. Different signs are negative numbers. Same signs are positive, different signs are negative. This is when you are multiplying or dividing. When you are adding or subtracting. I don't know, that adding kind of looks like a x2, but that is adding or subtracting. I want you to remember here that same signs add, different signs subtract, and on the different signs you're going to keep the sign of the larger number. I'm just going to say keep larger. You remember that song where you same signs add, different signs subtract? That's kind of basically what it is. If you have a positive number plus a positive number, you keep it and you keep the sign, so it's a positive. If a negative number plus a negative number, then you keep the sign and it's a negative. If you are taking a positive number plus a negative number, then you subtract the smaller number from the bigger number and you keep the sign of the biggest. Pretty basic once you kind of get the hang of it. When you're subtracting, what you're going to do is you're just going to turn it into addition. You're going to add the opposite so that you can turn it back into addition, and then you know the rules for addition. Multiplication, we already covered the rules for multiplication. That's basically integers in a nutshell. On the test, we do have one question that might be a little challenging if you're rushing through and not paying attention. You're going to have a question that has absolute value in it. So I want to remind you, when you see something like this, that's just showing you that that's a -3 so you don't get confused. But when you see something like this, that's because it's the absolute value. So you might see some negative numbers that have the absolute value. That's a review of something you did before. You should still remember. Just want you to be watching because there is a question that has absolute value in it. I don't want you to get messed up. Okay, we also have multiplying and dividing decimals. So multiplying decimals, I want you to remember that it's the same. You just line up the digits. So when you multiply, first you line them up, the digits, not the decimals. Then you count how many numbers are behind decimals in the factors, and you make sure there's that many numbers behind the decimal in the product. It's pretty basic. When you are dividing, you are going to see how move the decimal in your divisor so that it's a whole number, and then you move it the same number of times in your dividend, and that's going to be your answer. You can check your answer by multiplying to make sure that you get the same answer that your dividend was before you started. Guys, that's basically your test. It's stuff that we've covered all week. You should be really good at it because we've been working hard at it. Do you want some good news? The good news is that this is going to be an open interactive notebook test. So if you've been taking care of business, you have your interactive notebook done the way it's supposed to be, you get to use an open notebook today, and it's going to have a lot of stuff to help you on these questions because I know it's hard. I want to see some really good grades. Have a good time, work hard on your test, make sure you get it right.